So today I'm just going to do a tutorial on how to create your own jump rings for making chainmail. Very inexpensive method that I use with tools that you probably already have around your house. Really just need a pair of wire cutters, some small pliers for closing and opening rings. I have an assortment of mandrels here. I made all of these with things that I had in my garage. Most of these are just nails that I'd cut the head off of, drill a hole through it, and then I can use that to create my own rings by wrapping the wire around them. Sorted different sizes. Same process for all of them, just cut the head off, drill a hole through it, all the way down to very small ones, depending on what size rings you want and how thick your wire is. This is one that was actually a drill bit. It was a paddle bit. I did not attempt to drill through it. I just cut it off and then cut a groove in the end using an angle grinder, so that way I can put the wire in there to spin it. The one I'm going to be using today, this is just a piece of fence paneling that I cut out and drilled a hole in it. This is 1/4 inch, pretty common size that I use for a lot of my rings. So let's get these out of the way. The type of wire I use is actually electric fence wire. You can get a 1/4 mile 17 gauge galvanized for about 20 to 25 bucks. So that's a lot of wire for not a lot of money. I actually have it, I built a little dispenser here so that when I roll the wire out, it just feeds it off of there. And then just a normal electric drill. So just put it in the drill so you can wrap the wire. Adjust this camera a little bit. Put it in the end there so it's just barely through. And slowly feed it in there. Normally I would go the whole length of that mandrel, but for this I'm just going to do about halfway. So now you just need to clean up the ends. Cut a little off so that it is nice in there. This one, just cut that off. Actually gonna make one more of those. that off. Got two, I guess, springs you could call them. This scrap can just throw it away or whatever. Next, you want to just cut them in individual rings. Let's see. So I know cutting the rings with pliers is not necessarily the best way to cut rings. It's better to use a ring saw, but I don't have one. I don't think it's that big of a deal. This is just homemade stuff for hobby. So I think it works just fine. A little bit of advice for anybody that wants to make their own chainmail is to have patience and perseverance, because it is very, very time consuming. I recently finished a project that I was been working on for at least a year. A chainmail tunic using these actual same kind of rings. It was one of those projects where you get about halfway through and you realize you might have bitten off more than you can chew, but if you just keep going, eventually you'll finish, which I did. Then there's just a little piece at the end, you can just toss that one. So I'm actually doing two separate piles for a reason. After I get these cut, I'm gonna close all the rings in one pile and open all the rings in the other, so that when you are actually starting to weave the rings together, they'll be pre-opened or pre-closed, which makes it go a lot faster when you're at that point. I may leave this video at normal speed just to kind of give you an idea of how long it actually takes to do this stuff. Or I might do it a little bit time lapse so it's not so boring. Okay, so now I got my two piles. One is going to be opened and one is going to be closed. I guess I'll do the closed first. So I just used my little pliers and I just pinch that a little bit and do it at a little bit of an angle so that it's flush with itself there, and then give it a little squeeze to make sure it's closed. Pretty straightforward, I think. Just pinch it, do it at an angle so that it's lined up, and then a little pinch to make sure it's closed. If you're doing a lot of rings, prepare yourself for some sore fingertips, but it kind of goes along with it. And be careful that your pliers don't slip when you're pinching those. I've pinched my fingertip more times than I'd like to admit. See, almost did it right there. Hands are a little shaky because I had 2 cups of coffee already and a little jittery, I guess. There's a lot of videos you can find out there for different chainmail weaves. I'm just going to do a simple European 4-in-1. That's very typical, normal weave that doesn't really take a whole lot of skill, but it still looks pretty cool. Definitely prepare yourself for sore hands when you do this for a long time. Actually have been doing it so much that I got I'm not sure if you can see it, but a callus on the side of my finger because of holding my pliers for so long. Alright, so that's one of those springs now is all closed rings. Focus there. Kind of. Now on these other ones, I want to open them up. And what I use, this is just a little piece of wood where I cut. The hole in it has nothing to do with it, but the edge there, I just cut a little groove in it with I think a hacksaw, whatever. And on these, you just want to use that little groove, grab your ring like that, put it in the groove, then give it a slight turn. And then just go through them and do that to all of them. Man, that coffee's really got my hands shaking. So I got two piles, half empty or half open, half closed. And then to start 4-in-1 European weave, grab one open ring, put 4 closed rings on it, and then close that ring. So you got 4 on one. I'm actually making this piece for a project I'm working on right now, so I'm going to add 2 more and put it through 2 so as the name suggests, 4-in-1 means that every ring will have 4 other rings going through it. That's a little closer here. Now on the next row here, we'll put 1 ring on it. Actually, I'm going to go this way. So go through that one, put 2 rings on it, and then through the ring next to it. So on that one you can put 2 rings on it because you just, those 2 closed rings were this one and the open ring went through the 2 previous. So you can see that ring I just put in has 4 other rings going through it. So now on this next one we're only going to need 1 open ring. So go through those 2. Put the ring on, and that one. It's kind of difficult to keep it straight when you first are starting it because it's so small. So there. So that time we just put in this ring through those 2. And this one, and then this was the closed ring that we put on it. So same thing. Put 2 rings on. Go through these. Line that up. Again through these 2. Put the closed one on. And then get on there. There we go. The piece I need to make needs to be along this direction, but you can do the same thing going sideways. Be the same process. Put 2 on there, these two. Again, two closed ones on there, through those two at the end. Now, like I said, I want to make a piece that's long and narrow, so I actually don't need those on there, but just thought I'd show how you can do it sideways. It's the same as going up or down. Hopefully this was informative, and if you want to try doing it, good luck. And I hope you make a great project.